Now I'm going to see if anyone
Yes, we're live.
can see. Perfect.
Hey everyone, we're live.
Hello, everyone.
Drop us a message on the chat if everything is good on your end. Super happy to be here with Madie and you all. Yay!
I think we've got about 8 people in here so far. We're going to wait about 5 minutes till about 1:05. Perfect. Before we get started. And yeah, feel free to add in the chat where you're from and your Instagram handle. People can start following each other. Beautiful.
Amazing. Well, I'll start. I'm from Montreal.
Beautiful. I'm from very near Toronto.
Cool. How long is the drive to Toronto?
About an hour and 15 if you don't have traffic.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Always the traffic. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
welcome,
cool.
everyone.
Welcome, Vancouver, Toronto. So cool.
Got a few different time zones.
Yep.
So glad everyone could join in the middle of the day, or some people for the morning.
Yeah, as Madie mentioned, we're just waiting for everyone to join and then we'll get started. But in the meantime, let's connect. Another one from Vancouver. So cool.
Yeah, so feel free to add where you're from in your Instagram handle, and in about 3 minutes or so, we'll get started just in case there's a couple of latecomers.
So yeah, here in Montreal, it's a gray morning. It was a gray morning, but it's a great day overall.
Yeah. And we're hoping
Brazil.
we stay very clear, no weather interruptions to our tech.
Yes, exactly. In Brazil, we never talk about the weather because it's always sunny. But here, I love it's like small talk, easy small talk.
Yeah.
Love it.
Do you feel like your summer's already over, Iane?
Yep. Did
Already
we
fall.
have summer this year?
I know. Nice. Someone else from Toronto.
Yay.
We'll give it a couple more minutes, so time for to grab a drink or go to the bathroom before we start chatting and let you know what's going on today.
Oh, I hope so, Ashley. Can't wait for some summer weather.
I know, I heard one of these evenings is going to be quite cold, and I was like, I don't know if it'll come back.
Yeah. A friend said this week was going to be like perfect, a lot of sun, and then I wake up today and it's just like rain.
Hopefully it clears up.
Yep. Should.
We were trying to figure out, that's true. We were trying to figure out how to add some background music and some ambiance, but it wasn't quite working. So you're sitting with us in our small talk.
Exactly. Weather talk. Another one from Toronto. That's fun.
Amazing. So I think because I'm on, I can see our background. I can see our background broadcast. So me and Iane are on kind of a separate broadcast link, and I'm also looking at the preview of what you guys can see, and I think there's a little bit of a delay, about 10 seconds between what we're saying and when it shows up there. So if you're ever asking questions in the chat, just know there's probably about that much of a delay before we see them. Or actually, we'll probably see the questions right as they come up, but we might not get to them immediately, just so you know. But it's 1:05 now, so I'll get started. I'm sure some people will pop in as we're going, but we'll just let them join, and this will be also recorded and sent back out, so you can watch again at any point. But I just want to start off by saying welcome to everyone. We're so glad you guys had the chance to join and that we can have all these Canadian Circle members in one place. I'm not sure if any of you have met before. That's really cool if you have. And if you haven't, hopefully you meet some new people today. And just to start off, I'll introduce myself first. I'm Madie, and I'm located in Barrie, Ontario, which is just north of Toronto. Oh, Iane, you're muted.
Oh my God, this is so 2020. And I'm Iane from Montreal.
Perfect. So we're both Squarespace designers and Circle members, of course, and we're here to connect with all of you guys and kind of chat a bit about Circle Day and also just some Squarespace topics in general. And for the first hour of the meetup, you'll see Iane and I presenting. We're able to interact and show our screen, obviously, and then you guys also can interact in the chat. So for this first portion, it'll just be chat access for you guys. But then since this is a meetup, we really wanted to have the chance to actually interact with each other. So after about an hour, we're going to do a few kind of takeaways and presentations. But at the end of that first hour, we're going to send over a Zoom link in the chat, and hopefully as many of you as you can should join us over on the Zoom chat so we can actually interact. You can have your camera on or off if you want, but then we can actually ask questions and have a little bit more of a discussion and see each other and talk, as opposed to just being us presenting to you. So that's what is kind of coming our way. So another quick look at the agenda for the day. So starting, we'll do a quick Circle recap just to refresh everyone's memory on all the speakers and presenters that happened, because there were so many. And then we'll dive into a few personal takeaways from the day, which might entice you to go back and watch a replay of the presentation or see something that you maybe missed. And then we have each prepared presentations kind of around the power of using Squarespace within your design business. So I will be sharing how you can utilize Squarespace tools to create a website in a day.
And on my end, we're going to discuss how to turn your Squarespace into an all-in-one business solution. So how to run your business with Squarespace only.
So I'm really excited for both of us to share those. They're only about 15 minutes each. And after, if we have some chances for some questions, we'd love to take those in the chat as well. And then, like we said, after that's all done, we'll pass over a Zoom link. We'll make sure everyone makes it over to Zoom. And then we will go in there and just chat a little bit more, get to know each other a little bit better. So the first quick thing, this is obviously a big old list of all the things that were talked about. There's even another page on that I'll go to next, but I am curious before I even get started, did anyone happen to attend Circle Day in person? I'm so curious if anyone was able to actually see the presentations on their own. And now I think there'll be a little bit of delay, so I'll wait and see what the chat says, because I'm just so curious.
Me too. I totally want to go next year, for sure.
It would have been cool to be in person, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'll keep going as I see if anyone pops up in the chat. But basically, a lot of things were covered, from different tools that you could use to support your Squarespace build. So that UI toolkit presentation had a lot of external resources that you can use for like color and typography, things like that. Using Squarespace tools to get recurring revenue, how to charge a premium for your offering. Oh, amazing. So I see Vanessa now is there in person. That's so awesome. And feel free to add anything you want in the chat about how it was, but we can also chat in Zoom too. I'm so curious to hear how that went.
Me too.
And then there was also a bit about AI, using AI for marketing, telling a good brand story, selling Acuity scheduling in your business, a bit of a chat with the founder, which was really cool. And then using outsourcing to really innovate your business model. And then even more things, coding in Squarespace. That was a really full presentation, which was amazing. If you want to learn more from Rach from Square Stylist, a lot of insight from template sellers, client wrangling. I know it's something I think everyone faces at one point or another, how to keep timelines on track, niching down, inclusive design with color palettes, which is a cool topic, and then offboarding, how you could really go in depth with a cool offboarding process, live site building, which is pretty self-explanatory, and then a really great conversation with the chief creative director, David Lee, kind of rounded out the day. And I know there were lots more actually that happened in person as well. And there were some presentations even not included here that were kind of just in person. But yeah, there was so much covered. So if there's anything that strikes your interest that you'd want to do again, like if you do want to go back and check them out, you should.
Vanessa can maybe let us know during our Zoom chat the other presentations she attended in person. It would be awesome. But I would love to know, maybe drop in the chat, what was your favorite presentation? If you had the chance to attend in person or online the Circle Day 2023, let us know your favorite presentation of all of those great talks we had.
Yeah, for sure. And again, we will have to wait about 10 seconds before we see those pop up. So I'm going to go to the next slide for now. And then once we see those popping up, we'll maybe touch back on what people are saying was their favorite. Perfect. But I will move for now into Iane's takeaways.
Yeah, I'll already answer my own question. And I would love to chat a bit about, well, we all know Squarespace as a website builder, right? As a complete, modern, easy to use, the best website builder platform. But within Circle Day, I was really happy to see how their positioning is really changing. I see them, and I realized that they want us to see them as a holistic platform, like an entire ecosystem. And one thing that I'm super excited about is their focus on CRM. So project management is already there. It's available to all of us, but we can all expect to see many more updates on that end. So proposals, form approvals, and I cannot wait to see more. I was really happy to see that. Another talk that I really loved, and I think most of us know Square Stylist, Rach, and I loved her talk. And she mentioned something, it's one of her core messages, to keep it simple yet memorable. It really aligns with my business's value proposition, which is keep it simple yet significant. So it's the vision that I've always had for my business since I started, is to make it consistent, keep it simple, to really have a reason for all the design choices and business choices that I make. And I love that she tries to simply maximize the built-in features of Squarespace. So sometimes the amazing things are on the simple side of things. So the next talk that I really loved was about templates. And it was still on that note of simplicity. It really emphasized the importance of starting simple, starting small, and because it's easier to test, to overhaul, to improve if you start small, if you start simple, and then work on whatever you need, and then just go from there and always keep improving. I really loved learning more about the back end of those successful template shops. It was super awesome. And of course, the Square Kicker news, I was super excited. Madie is gonna mention that, I'm sure. And still on this side of processes, I loved how Elisa from AMP Design showed us how to make it clear to avoid certain situations and reinforce certain clauses via contract, communication, and boundaries. I love that she, merged all of that into 3 simple things on how to make everything clear within a client situation. So I love that. But my key takeaway and the presentation that was really a game changer for my business was Christy Price's presentation. And that it was like a click. I actually changed my business based on that talk already. And Christy mentioned that she adds a sandbox and a help page on the client's website. So the sandbox is just like a page that she creates for the clients to play around with Squarespace, because sometimes they are afraid to test things around on Squarespace because they're afraid to break the site that we carefully designed for them. So this sandbox is just like, go play around, do whatever you want, and then feel comfortable to change things around on Squarespace. And the help page, it's already going to be on brand because you're the one designing the site. And it's great to avoid the back and forth emails, all the videos that you maybe record after you hand out the site to your client. And she mentioned that she posts all those videos there, then it forces the client to still access their website, to get used to Squarespace, even more used to Squarespace. And there's another thing that I'm going to mention on my presentation that, like I mentioned, it's like the click for me that changed my business. But yeah, I loved Chrissy Price's presentation. And you, Madie?
Yes. So I saw a few people commenting there, but client timelines was one that Shannon loved. Creativity with David Lee was amazing.
Yes.
Connie's talk about niching down. And oh, cool. There's some links in there. And Fred was also there in person.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then, yeah, Chrissy, yeah, that guide page, that was really cool. So it's definitely, there's so much in there that even if it's stuff that you already had a concept of, to see how other business owners have really dove deep into different areas, it's really inspiring for sure.
Yeah, it's like, it's what I call the click, right? We always try to learn to improve, but then when we see something like that, it was super awesome too. It sparked a lot of ideas.
For sure. And so I ended up kind of gathering my takeaways too. And something that was really just like a game changer in an idea or like something to aspire to was the Square Kicker template tool. So if you haven't watched the template tell-all panel yet, I don't sell any templates personally, and I think a lot of people aspire to do that one day, but there's just so many hurdles that you can see in front of you that may slow you down. Personally, I know that happens for me. And so this template tool that Square Kicker is developing, probably not coming out till later next year, but it really takes so much of the weight off your shoulders, where they're essentially going to create a way to host tons of different designers' templates on their own platform so that all of the purchasing process and the sales process, customer service process goes through them. And you can have your own sales page that is just your designs. It's kind of like your own storefront, but they also will have all your designs available in like a marketplace as well, which is amazing. And you'll actually be able to categorize the designs you make in a template, almost like Squarespace does in the current platform. So if you were to go into Squarespace and add a new page that you want to be an about page, and you can go to that tab and read more about, like, or see all the different about sections, you could create something like that for yourself as well. And it just kind of changes the game of, if you want to take a lot of the manual stuff, even the marketing off your plate, it's a really cool way to kind of put yourself out there. So their website has more information on that. You can even join a wait list to get notified when that's coming through. I've already done that. And then basically the next thing I was really excited about was using AI to reduce marketing spend. So AI can be such a intimidating kind of thing, I find anyway. There's so many ways you could use it. And there was one presentation that basically went into how you could use it to just aim to reduce marketing spend. So just use it to maybe populate some really SEO optimized content that you then have AI help you create blog posts around that, so that you could generate organic traffic to your website without necessarily paying for ads, and trying to use a more organic tool to get traffic to your site, which I thought was really cool. And the presenter, I think his name was Dennis, had a lot of results helping his clients with this. And another thread that came kind of through everything I found, which Iane also talked about a little bit, is the importance of client communication. So really just over communicating in every sense, every step, and not in a bad way, in a very client focused way. So making sure that they feel like they fully understand your deadlines and boundaries to make their project as successful as possible. Do they really understand what's needed from them before you get started? As you're going, what are their deadlines, and why are they important to follow? And then even offboarding, how can you manage that so that it's enjoyable for them, and they're not constantly feeling the need to ask questions because you've already communicated what exactly they could do or should do, or answer their questions. And then the amazing thing with how many tools are also available on Squarespace now is it gives you so many areas to niche down in. Depending on the clients you serve and the industries they're in and the tools that they need, there's so many ways you could niche even further to offer exactly what they need, whether that's scheduling, e-commerce, courses. Instead of seeing it as like, oh, there's so much I can do, but I'm not sure where to start, how can you focus your niche based on what you know your clients need, or the maybe it's a target market you want to enter? Is there a way to really make yourself super desirable because of that extra niched service you can offer? And then I also just found that the circle feedback and their priority to innovate and iterate on what they're doing is a huge goal for them, something they're always trying to do. And especially with Circle Day and these meetups, it's just clear that our feedback is so important. And so, like, let's just keep doing that. Let's keep talking. Let's keep experimenting with everything and give them the feedback, because this platform just keeps getting better and better to work on. And even from 1 year ago to 2 years ago has been such a massive change in so many
Yeah.
ways. So those were kind of the main things that I walked away from.
Awesome. Feel free to drop in the chat if you have any takeaways that you have in mind, or describe Circle Day 2023 in one word. Like, if you don't want to write your whole takeaway, but feel free to do so. I would love to read what you guys thought of Circle Day. Or if not, we're going to chat a lot about it on our Zoom later on. Happy to meet other Canadian Squarespaces. Cool.
Yeah, because we want, of course, right now we're just in the presenting space, but we really do encourage you guys to pop in as much as you want with comments. So yeah, if there's any one word that you would use to describe the day, maybe it's something you came away with, or maybe it's an inspiration you got from it that you're excited about next. But I'd love to know what everyone's experience was. Funny enough, I don't think I have a word yet. Do you?
No, one word. No, I do have two. Chrissy Price. I really loved her presentation. Yeah. Totally inspiring. Yes.
For sure, inspiring. Yeah, I think even eye-opening. Sometimes it's good to just have a reset. You get so like head down in your own business that I think it's nice to get other people's perspectives and ideas and realize, where can I slow down and actually like refocus on an area that could be super useful and helpful to the clients. Priceless. I like that one.
I totally agree. I love those words. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, feel free to keep dropping those in. And then I may go ahead and get started on my presentation to keep us on track. But yeah, feel free to keep adding words in there. And then also, as I'm presenting, feel free to add in any questions as you think of them, just so you don't forget. I won't answer them as I'm going, but at the end, when I'm done presenting what I'm talking about, we'll try to touch on a few if we can. So yeah, thank you guys so much. And I'm going to get started talking about utilizing Squarespace tools to create a website in a day. So this is a topic I'm really excited about that I've kind of been working on for, I think, a couple years now, and doing this with my clients. So I'm really excited to share a bit about how I do this. So I'll start off with a really quick intro. So my name is Madie, and I'm the founder and lead designer of Rue Creative. We're a digital design studio for growing female-founded businesses, and we create collaborative and strategic digital design that elevates your digital presence so you can continue to grow online. So the website in a day all started with a need. I found that there was a really simple, a need for really simple yet professional websites that had 1 to 3 pages, a guided no fluff process, and a more affordable price. The big website packages are awesome for a lot of cases, but there's so many times where a person's either just getting started and they don't know where they're going yet. They don't know if they're going to be iterating or changing in the future, and they don't want to make such a huge investment of time and money that they feel guilty to change it later. And then if they don't invest any time or money and they just put their own DIY spin into it, they end up with something that isn't necessarily professional or a good representation of their brand. So I started seeing this need over and over. I found so many service providers, like I said, have started with DIY. Maybe they hired someone cheap or just asked a friend for help, and they ended up pulling their hair out, unhappy with the site, and taking way longer than it needed to. And the more I saw this happening, and the more I saw people who didn't need the full website package, but could use something much more quick, I started wondering, how could I offer the skills that I have mixed with the ability that Squarespace has to create something beautiful and simple and functional quite quickly into something that's really condensed, and it brings a really big benefit to the client and also to me as a business owner. So the website in a day service, in general, this is a quick overview of what I specifically offer. And so I know this type of offering has become much more popular, like the day rate or the intensive. Things like this are not unusual nowadays. There are tons of people who offer things like this. So take everything I say as like an idea generator, but I think everyone should customize an offering like this to what works for them. But my personal package includes 1 to 3 simple pages, keyword being simple. If it's one page, we can go more in depth, but if it's three, got to keep them simple. We do a morning kickoff call. I'll do a mini style and wireframe presentation for them before I set it up in Squarespace. Then I set it up. We can do one round of edits once it's in Squarespace. And then we do some quick user flow testing, device testing for mobile, basic SEO and backend setup. Then we do a final review meeting that day, and then I send over some editing tutorials. So I'll go a little bit deeper into how each of these work in terms of timeline for the day, but this is overall what they are getting when they sign up for a website in a day. And then this is kind of the most important question that I think comes up, is who it does and doesn't work for. So a website in a day is really great for people who are service-based entrepreneurs. So if they're offering a service and not necessarily an e-commerce business, if you are a specialist in e-commerce website design and setup, that could be a niche that you have. But for me personally, I really specialize with service-based entrepreneurs. And so that setup of an e-com shop would be a little bit too technical and have too much to do in a day. So I focus on those type of clients for this offering. They work on their own or with very small teams. If it's a big team with a lot of stakeholders, that can really slow down the feedback process. And the most important part of keeping the speed happening is quick feedback. So you really want to make sure there's one key person making design decisions. And they want design and tech support. They don't want to DIY anymore. They may want to change things in the future. They may want to be able to edit text or photos down the road, but they don't want to DIY this. If someone wanted to DIY this while you're working with them on a website in a day, you'd end up with a bit of a clashing of opinions or ideas, and it might extend that timeline. And you really want them to be available that full day to give feedback. I'll go over they don't need to be 100% on Zoom the entire day. There will be breaks, so they have time to do other work, but you want to make sure they're not booking with you on a day that they have a ton of meetings. You want to make sure that they're going to have time and they know to prioritize this so that they come out with a site that they're happy with and not one that they feel like they never gave feedback on. And then they don't need complex functionality or more than 3 pages. You want to keep an eye on that and make sure it's doable. And then they're happy doing the prep work. To make a website in a day, there's prep work involved. So you'll need a few weeks of buffer time before you do that to do the prep work. And then you also really want to make sure they're comfortable giving design feedback quickly. Some people, this is the immediate no that they give. They're like, I'm not comfortable saying I'm happy with a website after 8 hours. And that is absolutely okay, and just means they're not the right fit for this offering and could be potentially a good fit for a different one. And if they say that from the start, I'd say it's just good to look for a different solution. And essentially, it doesn't work for people who have the opposite needs, desires, or expectations that are listed here. So I kind of went through it as I was talking, but if they're the opposite of the things that are a day rate is great for, if they're feeling the opposite way or want something different, then it's a good idea just to not go down the path, because it's something that both you and the client should really agree upon. So here are some tools that make this possible with Squarespace. The fact that you can get started with a blank template or get added to an existing Squarespace site as a contributor, and it takes minutes, it's so easy to get started. So that's a huge perk. The saved sections feature is something that I've found completely game changing, because say you start with one page, you create the design for that home page, saving those sections and reusing them on other pages with different colors, different photos, different copy, different order. It makes creating the whole site a much speedier process, and you kind of use your templates or use your designs as templates. Fluid Engine, without question, is probably the biggest game changer for this, because there's so many things that used to require code to make a design look a little bit more up-leveled or to make it look more custom. Now there's so much we can do to make a design unique using the Fluid Engine, even especially editing on mobile. Animations, the simple fact that you can add an animation with one click throughout the entire site, is that you can actually make the whole site feel a bit more custom really simply. It's really fast, and honestly, that little bit of animation is a big perk to a non-designer, someone who's not in this industry. They do often find that a really great cherry on top of their whole website design. The fact that CSS is really accessible, you can even save code snippets on your side in whatever form you'd like, and just pop those in if you know you use them often to just give a bit of an up level to the site. The fact that you can do that really simply in the Squarespace backend is amazing. And then lastly, the fact that you can set your global colors and fonts in one place and really trust that they're going to be consistently used throughout the site. There's a few different platforms I've used before that it's still wishy-washy. You can set global colors, but there's different ways to manipulate them and edit them. And it's not as consistent throughout. Really rely on the structure that Squarespace gives you and let it bring a professional look and a high level vibe right from the start. And you don't have to overcomplicate things. And then say you have a niche in one of these areas that could really use scheduling, blogging, e-commerce, email marketing, memberships, or courses. In my specific website in a day, I don't tend to dive into these things, but there could be something you could really niche down on in these areas if you know your clients could really use them, and to have them set up in a day would be game changing for them. So just an idea to think about for your own business. Because creating an accessible option for your professional design work can be hugely beneficial to your business and your clients, because you can get things done quickly. So instead of booking a month for a project, you can book it in a day and make a great amount of income on that one day. But it also will be probably your lowest price option. Again, this is your own business decision and call, but it's my lowest price option for a website. So to the client, it's really beneficial to them. It's fast, it's valuable. So for on both sides, it can be really mutually beneficial to give someone an accessible option like that. For the structure of the day, it all starts with preparation phase. Like I said, you should probably leave a few weeks before. I personally require that you have to have all your preparation work done a week before we start. And that includes a questionnaire, creating a Pinterest board, collecting their brand assets, so their logos, collecting brand photos, filling out a content outline, which is probably the most time consuming part, and then providing domain information so we're prepared to connect it. And then here's a look at the structure of the day. And this is a screenshot of the Notion template that I use. And so they see this as soon as they're onboarded. And basically how this works is from the left to the right, we start with the morning segment of the day. Midday is the next column, then afternoon, and then end of day. And you can see there's timestamps for each of the things that we do. So the kickoff call is at 9. At 11:30, they know I'll be sending over a mini style and wireframe presentation. I send a Loom recording of that. And then they know that they have to provide feedback by around 11:45. These times are a little bit wishy-washy. I'd say about 15 minutes either way. But it's good for them to know, okay, I have a break in the morning. I can do some other things and then come back. And then same in the afternoon. I do Squarespace setup, then present the website. Then they give feedback again. Then I work on design edits. And since things are simple, I can test user flows, make sure buttons and forms are working. I can test the mobile device. And I can also do a little bit of basic SEO. I don't promise in-depth SEO, just something basic to get their the foundation of their site in a good place. So do they or I make sure I set up meta descriptions for each page, have a good title to each of their images, make sure that there's only one heading one on each page, just really simple things to get them in a good spot. Then we'll do a final review call. Some people choose to not launch that day. They launch in the future, and there's no extra charge for that. We can totally do that. But then we kind of decide what we're doing in terms of launch, and then I send over their tutorials. So I'll list out some other tools here that help that are outside of Squarespace. These are ones I've found really useful for my own experience. Figma for wireframes, Notion for project prep and schedule, Loom for recording presentations, Canva for some custom graphics, Pexels for stock videos and photos, and then I personally use Dubsado for invoicing and scheduling. But there are so many things now that Squarespace has that can almost replace all of these things. So if you want to keep it all in one place and you don't want to be investing in different platforms and just try and see how much you can do within Squarespace, there's a ton you can do. With Fluid Engine, you could skip wireframing if you'd like. With Forms, you could collect project information. Acuity, you could use to actually schedule your website in a date. You could use background art within Squarespace to create kind of a custom graphic feel. The built-in Unsplash photos are amazing for collecting stock photos. And then project management, you can now use Squarespace for that. And I know Yanni's going to go a little bit more in depth into that, but you can intake clients and invoice them now through Squarespace. How to prep as a designer is obviously totally kind of something you'll want to think through for your own process. But for me, logistically, making sure I'm communicating from the initial call through to the entire project, making sure they understand when things are due, checking in to make sure if they have questions, I'm helping. We make sure we really gather that content. We have everything we need before we start. And if we have placeholder stuff, we let them know that they will have to fill it in before they launch. And then know what you're fast or slow at. If you have slower tasks that you can prepare for, you know it takes you a bit more time to do certain things, try to do those ahead of time so that you can just dive right in. And if you know that there's things that you're really quick at, you can schedule those during the actual day. And design-wise, if you have wireframe templates, or even if you wanted a whole website template, I do custom on these days, but you could also build yourself a library of templates that you start your designs from. Presentation templates. So when I'm sending them a Loom presentation, I already have that ready. I'm just filling in the information. And then also gather inspiration before you go to actually design. Gathering the inspiration, the researching phase for me should come before the day so that you're fully ready to dive in on the actual day. And really, there's a couple things to do on your side is of acknowledging the pressure. It doesn't just have to be one day. If that gives you complete anxiety or it kind of stifles your creativity, if it doesn't feel the right fit, follow your instincts. My whole point is there's so much efficiency and creative power in Squarespace that you can really look at what your skill set is, who your ideal clients are, and you could probably set up a really efficient package for people that's more entry level, but still brings value to both you and the other person. So really focus on bringing that client momentum. If they have felt stuck for a long time or have been told that DIY would be easy, they're probably pretty down, they're probably pretty frustrated. And designing for your own brand is the hardest. We all know that. And especially someone who's not a designer, they're going to struggle with designing their own site. That's just going to be a challenge. So if you can lend a hand, that will be hugely valuable to somebody. And so this is something that you could probably screenshot just to kind of keep a mental checklist of how to really avoid scope creep and sticking to a schedule. It really all comes down to communicating. So going over who it's good for and who it's not good for on your consultation call, making sure they book a day where they're available for feedback, really show them a detailed schedule of the day as soon as they're onboarded. So give them that project portal right away so they know exactly how to schedule their day. Emphasize that success for you is success for them. So you want them to be happy. You want them to feel good and ready after this. And then talk about the fact that making quick decisions is not for everyone. So they feel comfortable saying, you know what, this isn't for me. If it's not, you'll both be happier that way. And then also expand on how they can grow and build on their site in the future. That's kind of the main thing. This doesn't have to be the end solution. It works so much of the time for people in the early stages because they can add pages and grow down the line. So that's where you can really focus on people who are like, I'm almost there, but I know things will change, but I know I need a website. This could be an amazing solution. Thank you guys so much. So that's the end of my presentation there. I think I saw a few questions pop up. I'll bring Iane back up here.
Thank you. So Ashley had a great question. Do you require your one-day clients to have brand photos? We can take the longest. What can take the longest is finding great quality stock photos if they have little to no brand photos. How do you do that, Madie?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, I've never felt fully comfortable requiring that they have brand photos, but I do always say it makes a massive difference in the professionalism of your site. So if they're able to, it's great to have them done. And if they truly just aren't there yet, I ask them to send over what they have. And if they only have a couple of headshots that are like okay and we know we need to gather more stock content before, that's another thing you can do to prep them. So you can send them links. So I'll send them links to Pexels and Unsplash. And if they have like, if they're able to do a bit of the work for you and do a bit of research of like, here's what I really like, here's what feels like it's resonating, just some ideas. And then you can do a bit of research for that as well. That's something I'd recommend doing beforehand if you can, so that again, you're not spending like half an hour of your day trying to source those. If you have a couple you need to fill in, that's more doable, but it's definitely a great thing to make sure you have ready to go before.
Perfect. And Vanessa asked, what is your process for website copy for this package?
Great question. Because most people are writing their own copy, usually because they're at the stage where they're trying to save a bit of money, I actually worked with a copywriter that I've worked with before to create a content outline that kind of, it has an overall structure that applies to most service-based businesses. And it gives them prompts of what information would be useful to have, and also gives them examples of what different industries might write. So for a specific headline on a certain page, a certain description of a service, and we give them that outline for them to fill in, and it gives them good guidance. And then if they want to add more to that, or if we need to discuss a little bit more of a custom section, then we'll dive deeper. But they always start with that outline, and that comes free with like, well, not free, but it's a part of their package, and it's not an extra charge.
Cool. Ashley is asking, how many hours total, including prep work, is going into this? So how many hours? If we don't have a team member helping us out with this, it's good to know the total time to keep profitability. Hopefully you share a price that you can charge for a website in a day.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm happy to share that. So a lot of the stuff I've done to create a project portal, the content outline, all the things that we send over for them to start prepping is in a template in Notion, so that hopefully there's no extra time being spent by me, or I have a virtual assistant. All she's doing is duplicating that portal that I have, making sure the name is correct on the portal for the client. We send that over, so that's 10 minutes of our time after a sales call. And then we do a check-in about a week and a half out. And if at this point they need more copy help or research help for photos, I'd say that's another hour or two of time in preparation for that. Before I even started the website in a day process, I'd say the most time was spent in figuring out the schedule for myself, figuring out those templates in Notion. That probably took a few days worth of work to really map out those logistics. But beforehand, I'd say up to 2 hours or so is maybe with a client that needs more hand-holding, maybe 2 to 4 hours in preparation. And then when we start the actual day, we start usually at 9 a.m., finish around 5:30 p.m. And then, to be totally transparent, sometimes the tutorials, I take a break and I send them a little bit later in the evening because it is an intensive day. So I'd say in the end, you're probably somewhere around 10 to 12 hours, depending how much handholding the client needs. And I personally right now charge $2,100 plus tax for a website in a day. I started around $1,250, moved up to $1,500 or $1,700, and then $2,100 is what I charge right now. And I do know some people in the industry will charge double that. So there's really a big range, and I'd say start where you feel like you could start with your clients to really practice these. And then from there, you can see if there's a ton of value there, you can kind of increase it based on that demand.
We do have another question. Do you add in the copy from the client on the design day, or do you add copy placeholders?
I'll add in the specific copy, and that'll come from the, thanks, Christian. I would add in all the copy they've sent over, and if there's any remaining spaces where they haven't filled it out or they're still not positive about it, that's when I would add in a placeholder and give them the tutorials to basically add in anything else they need in the future.
Canadian dollars?
It depends. I'm in Canada, so Canadian dollars for Canadian clients, but I actually, again, I'll be totally transparent. I charge the same amount to a Canadian client or an American client. I kind of put them into two different sides of the brand, and the pricing is the same. It's just there's no tax for the American client.
Same here. I would love to know, Madie, how many websites in a day do you take, like in a week or a month?
That's actually a great question. I only do them on Wednesdays. So the max I could do in 1 week would be one. personally, because I still do other projects at the same time. I still have a retainer client at the same time. I divide my weeks basically. Each day has different chunks of time devoted to a different thing. So I'll only do them on Wednesdays. And I'd say the max I've done in a month is 2. They are an investment of creative energy. So I don't think it would be hard to turn down more than one. Like if I had the interest for people to do one a week, it would be really hard to turn that down. But the reality is 2 every month, I think, is kind of a sweet spot for me personally.
Perfect. Perfect. So if we have any more questions, I think we can do them on Zoom. Do you agree, Madie?
For sure. Yeah. Keep any other questions you want to bring over to the Zoom chat.
Exactly. Feel free to drop it in the chat, and then we're gonna check them when we move to Zoom. And now I will share my presentation on Squarespace, an all-in-one business solution. Let me share my screen. Okay.
So I'll swap to your presentation now.
Thank you. Okay, we're good to go. So based on my first Circle Day takeaway, like the main takeaway, I'd love to show you how you can maximize Squarespace features and functionalities and use Squarespace as an all-in-one business solution. Quoting our Sam, our Circle community manager, he provided an interview right before Circle Day, which was very enlightening. Well, it has always been my goal since I started my business to run it smoothly from one platform only. Well, it was not easy. I was not able to do that when I first started. But as Sam mentioned, the Circle team this year had a mission to make people think about Squarespace as a holistic product that can get their website presence as multifaceted as it needs to be in 2023. So I will take that, not only the web presence, I'll say, but also our business organization. Having an organized business has always been a goal of mine, my mission. It's not only because I've always used organization as much as I needed, as a tool to study and to work. As you can see, I'm a very operational kind of girl. I personally enjoy it. It's one of my hobbies, organization. So I'll just spend a day cleaning my house, organizing my house. I love it. So Squarespace allows us to do just that. I was so happy when I saw Squarespace launched their project management tool. I'm still testing it out, but I have to tell you, it's a game changer. I can't wait, completely dump my current CRM and just move everything to Squarespace, because as I mentioned, it's a goal of mine to just put everything under one roof and run my business solely with Squarespace. And Squarespace was the answer for me, is the answer for me, and I hope to convince you to do the same. So I'll start with the basics, okay? Squarespace's functionalities, and there's so many. I'm sure some of you already know them, but hopefully you're gonna learn something new and have some questions answered. Or if you're new to Squarespace, I'm sure you quickly fall in love with the platform and everything it has to offer. So I'm sure I'm gonna touch on some topics that you're aware, but maybe I'm gonna show you something that you didn't know about that functionality in particular. So I'm gonna start with the business phase of visual identity, brand building. We have the site styles, of course, which there are font packs from Google and Adobe fonts, which is really easy to choose. You don't even need to do the font pairing. Squarespace can do that for you with the font packs. The color palette, there are presets that Squarespace, give us those options of color palettes. And also you can you can create your own based on images and color schemes. But What some people don't know is that Squarespace also offers a logo maker, and this logo maker uses icons from the Noun project. So depending on where your client is, the business phase that they're at, they can take advantage of this logo maker that Squarespace offers. On the website part of things, well, of course, we know Squarespace is a website builder platform, and it offers, of course, built-in blog, portfolios, e-commerce, now the new digital products, which include courses and member sites, and built-in mobile versions that we have, full design freedom on that too. But some of you may not know the Squarespace blueprint. Build your own template. It's like an AI for building your website. So we don't even need to create, choose a template or start with a blank template. If you start with Squarespace blueprint, you're gonna choose which pages you want on your website. You're gonna click which sections you want, and Squarespace is gonna put all of that together for you. You can choose your colors, your fonts, and it's already gonna be there already for you, just as you chose. So it's super cool. Of course, we know you can also buy domains through Squarespace. And as Circle members, we do get 1 year free. But it also comes with SSL certificates and privacy included. So security-wise, Squarespace is top-notch. And we also have Squarespace also has a partnership with Google Workspace that includes the email address and Google Drive. On the marketing phase, we have email campaigns, great. But did you know that when you post a blog, you can easily turn that into an email campaign? So that's a great thing of having everything in one place. Instead of having to copy your blog and then design it again, you can do this easily within Squarespace if you have your email marketing in Squarespace too. The sales part. So we have the e-commerce features, and Squarespace keeps improving this part of their website. It's just amazing. You can sell products, services, downloads, member sites, digital products, which includes courses, video on demand, member sites, custom merch. And as we know, courses was just launched and it looks amazing. I simply love it. And I can't wait to hear your thoughts. I really want to talk about it over Zoom and see what you think of the new courses feature. And I don't know if most of you know, but Squarespace does have social selling. It connects with Instagram and Facebook. And also, they have so many extensions that you can connect, like for restaurant reservations, even wedding registry. That was new even for me when I was doing my research. They do have that. And Talk, it's really an all-in-one reservation tool. It's amazing. You can manage reservation, events, takeouts, delivery, all in one place. Super worth checking if you want to offer this for your clients. For the social part, Squarespace offers two tools, which is Unfold for social media. So with amazing templates, and there is a fee planner and scheduling, and bio sites. So you don't need to design a page in Squarespace just for that when you offer it to your clients. Of course, no link tree. Usually I do that on my client sites, but there are bio sites now. Besides being free, having amazing templates designed by Squarespace, it's also possible to add tipping and crowdfunding options. And see their templates, they're just amazing. And for inquiry workflow, for this part of your business, Squarespace offers Acuity scheduling. It does include custom intake forms. You can send automatic email and SMS reminders. You can send on-brand invoices and even set different options for clients to pay for your appointments. So you can include packages, gift certificates, and even subscriptions via Acuity scheduling. Besides being on brand, easy to manage, all under one roof. And my favorite part, when you reach that phase of CRM or having to manage your clients, Squarespace just launched their built-in project management, and it's included in most plans. It has custom intake forms. You can manage your leads or even just form submitters, your customers, all in this one place. Streamline your work by creating projects, and you can manage everything that you need in a project. So track key dates, add notes that no one else is going to have access to. So this project management tool, only you are going to have access to it. And you can collect payments. You can create your own invoices. And as I mentioned, this is a new tool that Squarespace is going to put some effort into it. So that's why Madie mentioned, like, Squarespace listens to our feedback. So I think it's super important for us to really say what we need and expect it to be worked on. I can't wait to see, the form approvals, the proposals, because as I mentioned, I can't wait to move everything to Squarespace. And now, this is a super cool change that I recently made in my business. Chrissy Price gave me an idea to improve this even more, which was adding the sandbox and the help page, right, to a client on the not linked section. But besides that, we can add a client portal using the built-in blog feature for our clients. So the vision, my goal can be met now, and to keep all my business in Squarespace only. Creating a client portal on Squarespace gives us 100% design freedom. We're already familiar with the platform. We know how it works. The client portal would be free, so no need to pay for Notion or another project management tool that you might have to need more space or whatever. Since it's going to be on your client's website, you don't need to worry about that. It's just going to be another page on the not linked section, and it's efficient. You're already designing a website in Squarespace, so it's just another page to build. And it's going to be on your client's brand. I used here just a template, Squarespace template, and design this page. And usually you can decide to start this client portal with a blank or your favorite template. And then you're just going to duplicate that and start designing your client site. I understand, me particularly, I don't like my clients to see what I'm designing. I think it's good, to have the time and no pressure just to design your client site without them, peeking all of the time. And then they might send you an email and it's about something that's not even ready. So I understand that. And the way you can prevent this from happening is hiding the top nav and the footer. Then they're not going to be able to go to other pages or see what you're designing. But if they go and type the home page, remove the URL, the client portal page, some clients might do that. You can put on the not linked, you can disable pages, you can create the home page on the not linked section. So even if they click on if they find the home page, it's not going to be designed. So there's a workaround for that. And this brings the clients are going to get more used to Squarespace. So the way I did it, let me show you. I'm going to show you a quick video. Okay, so this is the welcome part of the client portal. I did add some facts, FAQs. The documents are going to be here on the right. Contact me, it's also going to be there. And each phase of my project is going to be a blog post. There's a button to go back to the home page of the client portal, how to use it. And I've added forms as a way of approving each phase of the project. And there is a name just to identify your client. And as project management improves, I'm hoping I can connect those approvals to the projects I create. For now, it's super easy to manage because on my end, I only take one client at a time. So I'm not expecting a lot of form submissions. And besides having the name, I'm only going to receive the answers from one client at a time. And I already added on my final submission, my final approval for the project, I already added testimonials request. So everything is in one place, one easy way for clients to approve the project, to see what's going on, and I don't need to use another software. The only work that I have is to duplicate what the client project and share that page with the client and improve it as we go and go feeding the page. And then the only link I need to change is the Google Drive for the client to update brand assets. And one thing that I like to keep in mind during my business journey is that getting organized is a work in progress, just as almost every aspect of running a business. I'm always trying to improve for myself and for my clients. I want them to have an amazing client experience, and I really do think Squarespace is doing amazing in helping me achieve that. So organization is just about starting and continue working on it. And I would love to know if you have any questions, if you like this idea of having a client portal within Squarespace, if you have already thought of that, and if you encountered any issues, I would love to know your thoughts.
Yeah, and while we wait to see, I want to jump in because that's something that I think is genius that you did, is adding in the blog functionality in there. Like, because there's so much content that you would kind of have to keep duplicating with each page, that it's genius to add a blog that you kind of import into that page. And even adding the forms into those, again, I wouldn't have thought of that, and that's so genius. That's like, makes me think about trying to switch over to.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring with this presentation. I wanted to make you guys think, you know, it's always possible. I love how Circle members always take Squarespace functionalities to the top. So this is an idea that I have. Yeah, that's it.
I was wondering, Iane, with the clients that you tend to work with, do you think that you would potentially invite them to start using the Squarespace CRM side for their businesses? Do you think any of your clients would use it?
I think so, yeah. I work mostly with social media managers, so I think it will work like perfectly with that. And even if they have day rates, I love the idea of being able to offer acuity scheduling too for them. So yeah, for sure, I want to prepare a video even on our final walkthrough videos that we post to hand off the site to the client. I want to include one video, like a walkthrough on the project management tool that Squarespace is offering now.
Yeah, that's a great idea, just so that they know that it's there.
Exactly.
It's even good to think with those handoff videos of potentially showing them all the different things they could keep an eye on in the future, like what they could use down the road. And I've actually used Acuity before and really, really loved it, and just switched it for a minor detail reason. But it's such a useful thing that's built right in. So that's awesome.
Cool.
Perfect. Well, if anyone has any other questions, we're like really happy to chat more about them in the Zoom chat.
Yeah.
And we can go more in depth, even just if this is sparking ideas that you want to talk about, we're happy to do that. And I just love what a perfect rundown that was of all the things that you can do in Squarespace now, because it's so easy to forget when you get into your own lane. There's so much you can do. But that was awesome. Thank you so much. So we will post, Iane, I don't know if you have that link ready, but basically what we'll do is we'll post that link in the chat here. If you guys want to not exit this, don't exit this platform yet, make sure you can get over into the Zoom meeting first. Then once you're in there, you can exit this. Just in case you're having trouble getting over there, you can still use this chat to join. And it will, I think, keep your camera off at the beginning, but feel free to turn it on. Me and Iane will have our cameras on, and it'll keep you on mute at the beginning, but we'll chat about how we'll do the discussion as soon as you get there.
So I will be here to help anyone having an issue going to Zoom, and then Madie will be on Zoom ready to welcome you all there. The link
Perfect.
is posted, and I see that you put it on the screen. Amazing.
Perfect. So I'm just going to leave here and I'll start accepting people in.
Perfect. Yay. Okay. So still here on Hopin. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any issues going to Zoom? I'm already there. Think.